Okay. Hello everyone. Happy Independence Day to everyone. So let us start with the today's session. Okay. So agenda for the today's session is we are going to start with the 5 front-end skill. So if you're willing to become a front-end web developer, if you're willing to become a full stack developer, and if you're willing to become a only web developer, so there the front-end skills are important to learn. So everyone need to learn the front-end skill. So around those we having the today topics. So let me start the thing soon. So I hope you can see my screen. I'm putting the PPT as well here. So before starting the thing, let's understand the few things. What is a front-end development? So when it is coming to building the things, so of course we having the backend as well, we having the front end as well, we having the database also. So today we are only discussing about the front end aspect of a project. Even I will tell you the other things as well. Let's say who can become the front end developer, why to learn the front end technologies, what are the job opportunities we having, what are the front end developer career scope, and a roadmap to become the front end developer. Okay. So these many things we are going to discuss in today's session here. So let's start with a brief introduction to myself. So my name is Shalin Chauhan. I'm the founder and CEO of Scholarhead and .NETix. I'm 8-time Microsoft MVP from the 2016. I'm a corporate trainer, solution architect. I have delivered so many trainings to the corporate on various technologies. I have trained more than 1 lakh students so far on various technologies. So this is about me in brief. Let's go to the next topic. What is a front-end element? So before understanding the front-end element, now let's look at how the application actually we build. If you're looking at the main component of any application, so main component of any application, we having the backend, we having the database, and we having the front end. These are the main component of any application. And guys, make sure you're taking the notes. How many people are here taking the notes? Please quickly confirm through the chat window. I hope everyone is taking the notes. Okay, thank you. So whenever you are referring any technical session, please take the notes. Don't sit idle. So today's session is a technical session, not a session you are referring only for entertainment purpose or only for just browsing the internet. You are learning something. And learning you can keep yourself whenever you are taking the notes. Even you have to revise the things also. So better to keep the notes. So when it is coming to building any application, so we having the front end. And front end nowadays is a more important and a critical part to develop for any application. If you're taking the example of any application example, you can take, let's say simple example of we having the MS Office. So when it is coming the MS Office, in the MS Office, let's first talk about the backend part. So the backend side, of course, in the MS Office, they will have some APIs. So those APIs are actually giving us the various data to us. If you take a simple example, it's an Outlook. In the Outlook, we can have the API, how many emails we have received. We will have the API, which actually returning us the data, how many email we have received, how many email we have sent. We might be having the another API where you might be searching for the emails, whatever you're having. So those things we are getting from the API. Now that API we build once. But now the question is here, one API, of the Outlook, we are using the multiple UI. We having the outlook.com. There we having a website. We having the Outlook mobile app also. We having the Outlook desktop app also. And we having the Outlook web app also. So there is a difference in the, the website and the web app. Because in the website, we are not maintaining the state at advanced level. We just doing the simple navigation, simple website. But when it is coming the web app, in the web app, we have to maintain the state at the browser level. So again, think about a single backend of the Outlook. We just replicating to the desktop, we are replicating to the mobile, we are replicating the website, we are replicating the web app. So we having 4 UI of the same application. So these 4 UIs are going to be developed by the front-end developer. These 4 UI are going to develop by the, of course, front-end developer. So when it is coming to nowadays, what technology Microsoft is using for building the MS Office 365. So when it is coming to Office 365, they are using the React.js over there. So React.js is a framework they are using for building the desktop application, for building the mobile app, for building the web app, and for building the website also. So nowadays, it is not the case using the JavaScript and the front-end skill set. You cannot build a desktop application, you cannot build a mobile application. Whatever the application you are using in your daily life, all are based upon the JavaScript. So you might be using, they might develop that application using React.js, they might develop that application using the Angular or any other JavaScript framework. So there is a huge demand of the JavaScript developer nowadays, because we have to replicate the same system into the 4 different UI. Even we have to maintain that also. And when it is coming to the backend side, in the backend side, we don't have much challenges nowadays. Do you think we having the much challenges? Because backend is already matured. Because backend people are using from 97. If you're taking the example of Java people are using from 97. If you're taking the example of .NET people are using from 2001, 2002. So it's a huge years. The backend has been evolved. So we don't have much challenges in the backend side. But when it is coming to the front end one, guys, please hold on. I think somebody drawing some things. Let me disable the annotation. Okay. So front end is a now skill that every company need to build the multiple UI of the same application. One of the example I have given, similar way you will have the example everywhere. Same example you can take for Facebook, same example you can take for the WhatsApp, same example you can take for the Skype as well, the Microsoft is using. Everywhere you will find out, you will have the multiple UI of the same product. And who is building these multiple UI of the same product? These UIs are going to be built by the front-end developer. The front-end team is building the things. Even in the front-end, we having a lot of evolution we are doing over there. So front-end is evolving and is keep evolving. If you're looking at from the last few years, the React, Angular, we having the WebAssembly and many things which are keep evolving. So because of that, the JavaScript is nowadays is a programming language that is ruling the world. So it does not mean you are building the web application, mobile application, desktop application, web app. Everywhere people are using the JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript-based libraries and framework. I hope you having the more clarity now, simply, right? So this is the front-end element. So using the front-end element, you are building the multiple UI of the same application. So now the question is here, who can become a front-end developer? Do we need any specific degree, any specific, the education to become a front-end developer? Trust me, it is not required. Even many people might be preparing for the DSA, they might be preparing for machine learning and AI. So what is the surety? If you will prepare for the DSA, you will get the job. What is the surety if you will prepare for, let's say, the data science and machine learning, you will get the job? I will say here, there is very less probability you will get the job in the top tech companies. If you are preparing the DSA, if you are preparing, let's say, the data scientist role. But trust me, if you are preparing yourself for the front end skill set, there is a surety you will get the job. So depending upon your preparation, depending upon your expertise, somehow you able to start your career. Because many people might doing the struggle because they might be from the non-IT background. They have done, of course, BCA, MCA, BTech. They might did any other course also. That is no technical one. It can be, let's say, MBA. It can be, let's say, a normal BSc. It can be something others. If you want to start your career in IT, so front end is a option. Using that, you can get the job in IT. Even you don't need to prepare yourself for DSA. Because preparing for DSA is not easy. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication for doing the things. I'm not saying here you don't need to put the dedication. Here also have to put the dedication, but there is a surety. You will get the result. But in the DSA, result chances are very less. There are few people who are actually from the metro city, who are from the colleges, who are doing the technical learning, they actually crack the DSA like this. But the front end one, anyone can crack. Anyone can crack. Yeah. So sometimes it happens you might be working as a Windows developer, as a C, C++ developer, and some other profile you might be working. Now let's say you want to revamp your career in IT. So what is the option there? So option is here, go for the UI development. Because UI is the most important and the high demand technology nowadays. Because now everything has been moved to the internet. So when you are moving to the internet and we having the multiple devices, we having the mobile phone, we having the tablet, we having the desktop, even we having the watches as well. So from everywhere, from every device, people are accessing the internet. We having the TV also. So we need more UI developer who can design the website which is compatible to run on TV, on watches, on mobile phone, on desktop. Okay, so this is the requirement. So demand is very high. Supply is very less because in the colleges, nobody is teaching the front-end skill set. And the colleges, they are teaching, they're teaching Python, they're teaching the machine learning AI also nowadays. They're teaching the Java and other languages. So here demand is high, supply is less. Because of that, there is a huge demand for the front-end developer. So I hope you are having the more clarity about it. Then why should learn the front-end things? These are the reasons, few numbers I just mentioned here. JavaScript is a number one programming language. Even if you will look at on the Stack Overflow survey, you will find out JavaScript everywhere people are using. And JavaScript is a programming language which people are using everywhere. So what are the website you are building today and you will build tomorrow? Of course, without JavaScript, we cannot build. More than 95% website which are running over the internet are using the website. Even whatever the cross-platform desktop application nowadays we having, what are the cross-platform mobile application we having nowadays, they actually using the JavaScript there. Even we having a lot of career opportunity in the field of front end. We having a very good salary as well, depending upon your requirement. So salary will vary as you having the experience there. These are front-end developer job opportunities. If let's say you're looking for what are the various companies who can offer the job. So I have mentioned some pictures from the ambitionbox.com. So at the ambitionbox.com, if you will search for the React front-end developer, you will find out we have in TCS, Infosys, Accenture, Cognizant, Capgemini, Wipro, IBM. All these companies are hiring the React front-end developer. So here, let me make you clear. In some companies, they need only React. In some company, they need only Angular. So here, suggestion is here, go ahead with one front-end framework first. Then later on, you can learn another one. Because when it is coming to become a senior front-end developer or front-end tech lead, you need to know the multiple front-end. You need to know the React as well. You need to know the Angular as well. You need to know the another front-end framework also. But initially, you have to start with only one front-end framework. Make sense? This is the companies who are actually hiring for the front-end developer. There is one more question we having, how I can target the main company. So to target the main company, we having the two options. Option one is here, learn DSA, practice it, and go into the top tech companies. But some people are not confident in DSA. Sometimes DSA also feel boring. So what is another option to get into these top companies? Another option is here, learn front-end skills. By learning the front-end skill, you can go into the top tech companies. Even there, in interview, they will not ask for DSA because they know front-end is separate things. If you are going to apply for the back-end developer, role, they actually ask the DSA. For the front-end, they don't ask the DSA. And of course, depending upon what are the experience you having, you will have the salary. Salary number will vary. So what are the salary I have mentioned? I have mentioned in the range of service-based company to the top tech company. In the top tech company, the salary is, let's say, 32 lakhs, 40 lakhs, 45 lakhs, even more than 50 lakhs as well. What are the company name I have mentioned? The right hand side, let's say Google, Microsoft. Starting salary is 30 lakhs, 34, 35, even 40, 45 also. So it depends upon what are the company you are targeting there. And this is the front-end developer career scope because many people are confused. What would be our career scope? And always remember one thing. You should always decide that career that is having the depth. So it is a in-depth career. It's not the case you will be only front-end developer. Later on, you having the option to become the senior front-end developer where you are learning. Let's say you started with React.js, later on you have learned the Angular also. So you become the senior front-end developer. Then later on you have learned the Vue.js as well. You have become, let's say, the front-end tech lead. You can become front-end solution architect as well. So similar designation we having here also, as we having the designation the backend side. So front-end is also a vast field where companies are needed the more expert people who can help them to build the various UIs of the same product, whatever they have right now. So what is the roadmap to become the front-end developer? This is a roadmap we having to become the front-end developer. Let's start with JavaScript. So JavaScript is a programming language. You need to start first. Then you can learn about HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, jQuery. And after that, you have to focus on React library. And one more thing here, whatever the language, whatever the framework you are learning, make sure you are doing the hands-on there. If you're not doing the hands-on, you are not building some assignments, you're not building some workflow, that learning is not helping you to get the job. Because the real problem with the people is they actually know the things. They don't know how to implement them. And the most important is create some projects. And for creating the project, just create the real application clone. You can create a clone of, let's say, Facebook. You can create a clone for, let's say, OTT platform. You can create a clone for, let's say, e-commerce website. So create such application clone. And of course, just post these projects somewhere. With that, for GitHub, you can put the code there. Then we having the various, the server, there you can post the application. So this is the way, the things you have to take care of. So the important thing is make the clone of the real world application, then make a proper GitHub profile so that when you will apply for the job, you can showcase in the job, okay, these are the project I have built, to showcase your experience. Because the GitHub based resume, the GitHub based profile, having the more weightage over what are the profile you having in the Word format. So this is the path you should follow to become a front-end developer. So I have done with a role, the career scope, where you can go after learning the front-end skill. As I have promised today, let us start with 5 front-end skill, hands-on learning. Are you ready to go ahead? If you have any query, you can ask through the chat window, and between I can give your question answer. Let us start with the hands-on part. So to get started with the front-end development, make sure you having the few tools. So few tools is here. You having the, let's say, the IDE. So as an IDE, you have to go ahead with code.widgetstudio.com. So Widget Studio as an IDE, we will use in this learning journey. Then make sure you have downloaded the Node.js as well. Because when it is coming to, learning the React, learning the others front-end framework library, we need the Node.js. So download the Node.js, download the VS Code. These two things we needed initially to get started. I have already set up the Node.js. I have already set up the VS Code at my local machine. I will tell you here one more environment. If let's say you don't have the system, because I know there are some people who don't have the system and they are willing to learn the front-end skill. So you are lucky, because we having some website who actually helping you to provide a sandbox environment. So we having a code sandbox website. There you can go and create the environment live. Just create an account on GitHub. Through the GitHub account, you can connect with the code sandbox, and whatever the code you are willing to build, you can keep on the GitHub, and you can import the repository of the code sandbox and can working over there. So here we having the ready-made environment for all the front-end skill set. We don't need to worry about. It's a very good website that is freely available to create the code sandbox here. So just you can do sign in and you can start with it simply. So this one also you can try if you're willing to learn everything in the browser instead of setting up in my local machine. So here there is option available, create sandbox. And here you can decide which sandbox you are going to create here. So you can see we having a sandbox for React, we having for Angular, we having for static HTML website, and we having for the vanilla JavaScript also. So these skill, of course, you need to learn only to become a front-end developer. That's it. Go ahead with them and start it. Start learning in browser. So let's say you can start with a vanilla JS project. This is my vanilla JS project. I can start writing the code over here like this way. So this is a place also you can learn. I hope guys my audio is clear to everyone. I'm right. Okay, thank you for the confirmation. So I'm going to start with my local VS Code ID. So what I'm doing here, I'm just going to start with JavaScript, because JavaScript is a programming language that everyone should know if you're willing to become a front-end developer first. So here I'm going to start with my JavaScript. So it is coming to JavaScript. So JavaScript initially we use for doing the DOM manipulation. Or you can say JavaScript initially we used to run only in browser. And JavaScript is always a language the people actually underestimate. So when it is coming to running the JavaScript in the browser, it always interpreted. But when it is coming to running it on server side, because nowadays JavaScript we can run on server side as well with the help of Node.js. So JavaScript is a programming language which you can use on client side as well as on server side. So whenever you are running on client side using the browser, it always interpreted. Whenever you're running it using the Node.js, it always compiled. And using the JavaScript, we can do everything which can be done using any other programming language like Java, C#. We are using the Python, any other programming language. Even when it is coming to building the front end. So JavaScript is only programming language you can use to build the front end. The C# and the Java cannot help you to build the front end. Only the JavaScript is a language which can help you to build the front end there. So when it is coming to the JavaScript, so of course, every programming language having some data types. So here also we having some data types you need to know. So the data type of the inside the JavaScript we can divide into two categories. We having the primitive and we having the non-primitive. So when it is coming the primitive data type, we having the number, we having the string, we having the boolean, we having the null, we having the undefined. So these are the primitive data type we having the JavaScript. When it is coming the non-primitive, we having the object, we having the array, function, date, and regex. So these are the non-primitive data type. Yeah. So let's see how we can use the data type in the JavaScript to create the variables and to deal with them. So I'm already having my VS Code ID that I will use. So this is my VS Code ID. And here I can create a folder somewhere. The folder I can create on the desktop. The folder I can create inside a particular, inside a drive. So what I'm doing here, I'm just creating a folder, open a folder. And I'm just adding a folder on desktop. So this is my folder. Name is, let's say, Frontend. Yeah. In the front end, I'm adding a folder, let's say, for JavaScript. This way. Now open this JavaScript folder like this one. Code Sandbox is actually free to use. For personal use, you don't need to pay anything. So even Code Sandbox is a very good, environment to practice the things from anywhere. Because sometimes it happens you might be in a place where you don't have your system and you have to practice everything in the browser. So Code Sandbox is a great ID, or you can say great website through that everything can be done. So this is my JavaScript where I'm adding a new file with the name of, let's say, data type.js. And one more thing here, guys. What are the JavaScript I'm teaching you? I will teach the JavaScript using the Node.js. I'm not teaching you the traditional JavaScript style of writing the code. Because the traditional style of JavaScript, we use the HTML and there we write the code. But when it is coming to the modern JavaScript, so modern JavaScript, actually we learn through the Node.js as we learn the Java language, C# language, or other language. So you're going to learn here the modern JavaScript syntaxes, which actually will help you to write the code in React.js and other front-end frame. Okay. So here when it is coming to the declaring the variable. So here I can define a variable where x equal to 5. So where is a keyword we are using in JavaScript from the initial days. But starting from the year 6, we having the two more keyword. We having the let keyword, let y equal to 6. I hope guys the font size is visible to everyone. You are not facing any challenge. Can you confirm? through the chat window. The font size is visible to everyone. The people who are watching on YouTube, can you confirm the font size is visible to everyone? Okay, thank you. So we having the three keyword now to declare the variable in JavaScript. Now the question is here, what is the difference between var, let, and the constant keyword? So when it is coming with the var keyword, so var keyword is available in JavaScript from the initial days, but let and the constant keyword are available from the ES6 only. And the issue with the var keyword is the var keyword does not support the block scope. If let's say I'm defining a var variable inside a if statement, it is a block I'm creating. You might be creating a variable inside a for loop. You might be creating a variable inside the, let's say, the switch statement. So these are the block. So var keyword does not support the block scope. It means I can access my X outside this if block here like this, var X. It is accessible. But when it is coming to the let and the constant keyword, they support the block scope. So that's why starting from the ES6, it is always recommended to use let and the constant keyword to create a block scope variable. So I'm just going to use here console log y, where I'm keeping the y value, and console log z. If we will try to access the y value outside the if block, it will not allow us. It will give us the error here. If I will run this code now, because the y variable I have created using the let keyword. So let and the constant support the block scope. There's the same understanding if you already know the other language, let's say C, C++, C#, Java. So there we having the block scope of a variable. So JavaScript is not exactly same programming language, is not having exactly same concept as we having in, C++, C#, Java. We having the many things are here different. So that's why I'm just using here. I'm just telling the differences, how the variable are behaving here different, simply. Okay, some people from the YouTubers saying the font size is small. Okay, let me increase it. I hope it is now more clear. Okay. So to run this code, this data type.js file, I will use the node.js. So to run this file using the node.js, we having the terminal, open the terminal here. This is my terminal that is coming over here. And here I can run the command node, then the file name. File name is here, data type. You don't need to mention the extension of the file, only file name is sufficient. Node and data type here, this one. So you can see, I'm getting the output, even I'm getting the error as well. Where? I'm getting there in line number 12. This is a line number 12, error is there. What error is coming? The error is coming, reference error. Y is not defined. It means the variable which we have created using the let and the constant, we cannot access outside the block. So always remember one thing, whenever you're writing the code using the Angular, using the React, and you have to create a block scope variable, always use let keyword. Even I always use the let keyword to declare my variable. Make a practice of using the let. Don't use var keyword until and unless you are not targeting the ES5 version of JavaScript, or you're targeting the older browser. And nowadays, everywhere we having the new browser, so don't need to worry about. Always make a habit to use let keyword to declare a variable in JavaScript. Now the question is how the constant is different from the let. So constant keyword actually help us to create a constant variable. Similar as we having a constant, the C# language, Java language. Similar way we having the constant here. But it is not about only creating a constant variable. The constant keyword also used to keep the behavior of an object in JavaScript constant. Just take an example. We having an object. So let's say I'm creating an object. So object always you should create using the constant here. Because JavaScript is a dynamic language. JavaScript is not a static language. So difference between the JavaScript and other languages, JavaScript is a dynamic language, which means the type of the data in JavaScript is going to decide on the runtime, not on the compile time. But when it is coming to the C#, Java, C++, these are the static language, where the type of the data will be decided on compile time. So if I'm not using the constant keyword, so I cannot keep the behavior of my variable constant. Let me show you. So I'm using here a simple object this way, user. And let me use, let's say, where keyword here. So there is a possibility if you're using the where, let's say let also. In the next line, I will change the user to 2. There is a possibility. If I will here in the first line, I will console the user. It will show us user as an object, but immediately in the next line, it will start showing user as a simple variable. That's it. So it is node, and then we having the data type here. So you can see it is perfectly working fine. There is no issue. Now let me move this terminal to the right hand side. Okay, let me delete this profile here. I'm not using actually this one. Okay. So what is happening here? Now the user here in this line number 12 was object, but in the line number 14, it immediately changed to a normal variable. But in a static language, we don't have this issue. It will let us know user is an object. So you cannot assign a normal value to it. But how we can constant the such behavior in JavaScript? So for that purpose, we having a constant keyword. Now you will try to do the same thing. Now you will get the error. If I will run the same command now, I will run the same program now. After changing my let to constant, you will see the difference here. It will be a node data type. And if you will check here now, you will see it is showing me the error now. So let me run it again. So if you will see, it is showing me assignment to a constant variable. Because the value of the constant variable I cannot change. You have to initialize it at the time of declaration. So in the line number 12 only, I can assign the value. After that, you are not allowed to change the value of this user variable because it's a constant one. But it does not mean I cannot change the value of ID and the name field. That is possible. So what are the object you're assigning to the user? So only that variable value I cannot change, but object properties I can change. So the benefit of using the constant when I'm creating the object is behavior of that variable it is keeping constant. Make sense? Now let's say I'm just commenting this line because it's not allowed, but here it is allowed. The user.id I can change perfectly. There is no issue. User.name I can mention it's a Ram. That will allow it. So it does not mean I cannot change the object field values. I can change. Let's see. It will work fine now here. Note data type. So everything working fine here. I hope you understood. Now where to use let keyword, where to use constant keyword. Because these are the two keywords now you have to practice whenever you will write the code using React.js. Please do let me know through the chat window if you are getting the things. I need your response quickly. Okay, thank you for the confirmation. Do you know these differences already? How many people are learning the JavaScript? And you know these clear differences between these three variables. Do you know? Yes or no? I'm sure many people might be learning the JavaScript and they might be using these two keyword, let and the constant. But I'm sure they might having the confusion to decide between let and the constant. But I'm sure after referring this one, that confusion has been gone. So now the next thing in the JavaScript which you need to understand is number mathematics. Because when it is coming to building any website, of course, we play with numbers there. If you don't know how the number calculation is working in the JavaScript, it will be difficult for you to figure out what is the issue we having with the JavaScript. So in that case, make sure you know the number mathematics in JavaScript. So what I'm doing here, I'm adding a new file with the name of numbers.js. Now let's look at some numbers calculation. So let's say I'm just creating a variable, let x equal to 5. I'm using here, let's say y equal to 0. I'm using here z equal to, let's say, false. I'm using here, let's say u equal to, let's say, hello. This I'm keeping some variable here. So I will just define some expression and I will ask the answer from you, how it is working. So let's say I'm just writing a statement console.log x, y, y. Can you tell me here the output of this statement? Do we have error attempted to divide by 0 or do we have something else? Just tell me your answer through the chat window quickly. What is your answer? Okay. Some people are saying 0, some people are saying might be error. Of course, this is an error in the C# language, in the Java language, even another static languages. But in JavaScript, it's not an error. In JavaScript, we having a special number infinity. You will get the infinity as an answer. If you will check, I can check it node, then numbers. So think about a scenario. What are the errors we having in the programming languages? If the same thing you will write, you start getting the different output. So you should know why I'm getting the infinity. Okay, so these are very basic things, but until you are not explored the JavaScript well, you don't know these issues with the JavaScript. Okay, these differences in JavaScript. Let me write some another expression as well. Let's say I'm writing another expression console log where I'm keeping, let's say, x plus 7 plus u. What I will get here? Can you guess the output? Do we have any error? Yeah, tell me what the output we will get here. X is 5 plus 7 plus hello. So what will be the output here? Okay, some people are saying 5 hello, x 7 hello. X is a variable that is having a value 5. Well, hello. Okay. So let me tell you here, when you are dealing with the numbers and the string, always remember one golden rule. Before the string, whatever the expression you have, it can be expression where you're doing some addition, where you're doing some subtraction, you're doing some multiplication. It will do as it is. And as soon as the string operand will come, after that, it keep appending the things. So what will be here? 5 plus 7 is 12. Then we having the hello. This is the output you will get. It is a initially number calculation, then we having the string concatenation. If I will reverse the same thing, I will write here, let's say u plus x plus 7. Now what will be the output? Can you guess the output here? Everyone, just do let me know what will be the output. What is the output now? Now you guess right. It is hello 5 7. Because as soon as we will get the string operand, after that it will do the concatenation. There is no calculation over there. Many times we write the code like this way. Let's say 5 y u. Can you get the output here? There is a one more expression 5 y z. What will be the output? 5 by u. U is hello and z is 0. What is your answer? What is your answer here? Line number 7 and line number 8. Okay, few people guess the right. Whenever you are doing some calculation with a number that is not actually number, let's say string you are using, you might be using the undefined. So you will get none. None here. That's not none. It's a none, not a number. So u is not a number, it's a string. That's why I'm getting the none. But if you will see here, I was not getting none. I was getting proper string concatenation. The reason behind it, only plus operator with string and numbers will be converting into the string concatenation operation. But if let's say you are using the minus, you're using the, let's say, multiplication, you're using the division, you're using the modulus, they always with a string give you the none, not a number. Only plus will be converted to concatenation. Please note down this thing. So here it is none, not a number, because u is not a number, it's a string. Here in this case, it will be the infinity. Because when you are using the Boolean value, so Boolean value with the numbers are going to be considered as 0 and 1. False will be 0 and true will be 1. So that's I'm getting here. 5 divided by 0, it is infinity. So these are the some rules everyone should know how I'm getting the things. So think about a scenario, you are doing some calculation on some input data and somewhere you're getting the none. So how you will figure out why I'm getting the none? I have passed the number, but I'm getting the none. So in that case, you have to understood there are some input values which are not actually number, those are actually a string. That's why I'm getting the none. The example here is simple. So these are the very basic things, but very, very important. It can be the case like this way. So you having, let's say, a variable. I'm using here, let's say, n, where I'm using, let's say, 5. And you're using these things. So what will be the output here now? Hold on. So here you can see, here I'm using the n as 5 and 5 minus 5 I'm doing. So it is behaving this 5 as a number over here. But if the, let's say, same thing I will do here in the hard code one. Let's say I'm doing the hard code one. So these are the JavaScript level issues you need to know. So string is here now acting as a number. But when it is coming to, this one, let's say the division one, here it is a number, that's it is behaving as a number. But of course, if I will have here a string, let's say at or something else, so it will behave as a none simply. This way, none, not a number. So these few things you need to know whenever you are dealing with JavaScript there. I hope this thing is clear to everyone. I'm right. So now let's proceed further to do the another things here. So another important thing in JavaScript is function. So when it is coming to JavaScript, so JavaScript is an object-oriented programming language or some other language. Can you tell me which language JavaScript is? Can you tell me through the chat window? I already explained the reason behind the line number 7 and 8 is none, because u is a string. So if you are using the another operator, like apart from the plus with string and numbers, you always get the none, not a number. Even if I will use here in place of, let's say, 5 by u, I can use, let's say, a variable which I have not initialized. Let's say we having a variable n2. So now n2 is undefined because default value for a variable in JavaScript is undefined. So what will happen here? You will again get here none, not a number here also. So undefined, your string, we converted into the none. So many times it happens, you might be using a variable into the calculation, that value you have not initialized. So make sure that will create the issue in the calculation. So when it is coming to JavaScript, so JavaScript is a functional programming language. And when it is coming to writing the code in React.js, in the React.js nowadays, we are following the functional programming style. We don't prefer the classes there. So when it is coming to the older version of React.js, there we having the class-based component, there we having the functional component, and they always create the confusion. But when it is coming to the React hooks, because starting from the React 16.8, we are using the hooks. So hooks are promoting to use only functional programming style of JavaScript. And trust me, functional programming style of JavaScript is easy to follow, easy to write as compared to the class-based one. So instead of to have a confusion between the class and function, better to go ahead with the JavaScript functional programming style. To write your front end using the React.js and using the hooks in the React.js. Let's see how we can create the function in JavaScript. So here I'm adding a file with the name of functions.js. So when it is coming to function in the JavaScript, so we having the three types of function. Do you know what three types of function we having in the JavaScript? Just do let me know quickly. What three types of function we are having there? So we having the named function, we having the anonymous function, or you can say the function expression, and we having the arrow function. These are the three types of function are available in JavaScript, and these you have to use always. So let's see how we can go ahead with these three types of function. So here I can create a function for adding two number x comma y. So I'm using here return x plus y here this way. So this is a named function, and the named function I can access before its declaration. So here I can access it where I'm passing 2,3. It is, I'm passing it two parameters here this way. It is a name function. Second one, we having the anonymous function. Anonymous function means we don't have the function name, because function are always going to be known with its name. But here we don't have the function name. Let's say I'm defining a function constant that is add equal to a anonymous function. So this is my anonymous function where I will pass again two parameters, and it will return the sum of x and y this way. So this is my anonymous function. And if you will see in the left hand side, I'm using the constant keyword. Do you know why I'm using the constant keyword? The reason behind it, I want to keep the behavior of this variable constant. Means it should always behave as a function. In the next line, we cannot change the behavior of this add variable. So that's why whenever you're defining a anonymous function, whenever you're defining an object, go ahead with constant keyword. And in the anonymous function, I cannot access it before its declaration. If you will try to access it, you will get the error here 2,3. If you will try to get, here I'm get the error. And we having a one more function, that is the arrow function. So we having a one more function, that is arrow function. Let's say I'm defining here a constant sum, and in place of function keyword, I'm using the arrow function this way, where I'm passing the again two parameter x and y this way. This I'm having. So this is my arrow function, and this is my anonymous function. So this is my anonymous function here this way. And this is my named function we are having this way. So when it is coming to the these three functions, now let's understand the differences in these three functions, because I'm sure these three functions commonly we use when we writing the code in React.js or any other front-end framework. The name function we can access before its definition. This is perfectly correct. Here I will get the error add is undefined. Here also, if I will try to access before its definition, it will also give us the error. Here also, I will get the error. If you want to check, you can run the code by running here node, then we having the functions here. And if you will check the output, I will get the error here in line number. cannot access that before the initialization. Okay, so I'm getting the error here. But if the same statement I will write after its definition or declaration, there is no error. You will get now proper output, that is 5. Exactly we having for it also. That is 5 here. So how this behaving? Why we are able to access it before its declaration? Let me tell you the reason. The JavaScript we having a concept of hosting. Do you know about the hosting in JavaScript? How many people know about the hosting in JavaScript? Do you know about the hosting? If you know, please do let me know through the chat window. What is hosting in JavaScript? So I'm not teaching the JavaScript at the basic level. I'm teaching whatever the most critical and the confusing part we having in the JavaScript, so that you will use them whenever you're working on React.js and any other front-end framework. Because many people, fundamentals are not good in JavaScript, and because of that, they always do struggle while writing the code in the front-end framework. So what is the hosting? Can you tell me here, everyone? Because if I'm able to get the name function before its definition, so I should also access the line number 9 anonymous function as well. But it is not behaving. The reason behind it, it is hosting. Because of hosting, the name function I'm able to access before its definition. So let me explain what is the hosting. Hosting is a way where we are moving the declaration of function that is actually named function and where keyword to the top level. That is the hosting. So in JavaScript, only two things support the hosting: where keyword and the function. So where keyword also, the where keyword variable also I can access before its declaration. If let's say we having a things, let's say where x, and I can access it before this line. Do you think x should be accessible before the line number 4? Technically, it should not, but it is, because in JavaScript we having the hosting. Hosting will move the declaration of where variable to the top level and the declaration of this name function to the top level. Because of that behavior, I can access them before their definition. But the anonymous function and arrow function does not support the hosting in JavaScript. I hope it is clear to everyone, right? Can you tell me through the chat window, is it clear or not? So now if you will see the output, I can see the output here, node function. And for this x, I'm getting undefined. Because even if I will give the value to x as well, let's say I'm giving the value to x as 6, and see the difference here. I'm getting the value of x as undefined. The reason behind it, in the line number 3, x value is not given. X value we are giving to the line number 4. So how the JavaScript is parsing the code? Because in JavaScript we having the two phases, parsing phase and the execution phase. In the parsing phase, it figure out what are the name function we having, what are the where keyword we having. If we having where keyword variable and the name function, in parsing phase, it move those declarations to the top level. like this way, where X, then it will be a function. Right. This is the parsing phase. In JavaScript, will move the declaration of X and the add function to the top level. That's because of this declaration at the top level, because of hosting, I'm able to access X. And here in the line number 3, now X is undefined. Makes sense to everyone? How it is behaving? Yes or no? Of course, after the line number 7, X will be 6. Because I have initialized the value. So here it will be 6 itself. Don't think it will not give the answer as 6, it will give 6 only. Only before that, it will give different result. So I hope hosting is clear to everyone. This is also very important concept you need to know about in JavaScript. Now come to the difference between the anonymous function and the arrow function. Where to use anonymous function and where to use the arrow function. So when it is coming to defining the the callback function, I'm sure you have used the jQuery, or you might aware of the jQuery. And the jQuery, what are the event handler we define there? So that event handler need a callback function. Even many times you might be using the Node.js or Express.js. There also we are using the callback function to deal with the event, to deal with the string. So whenever there is a requirement to create a callback function, there we prefer the anonymous function. Even the anonymous function in JavaScript can be used as a constructor function. So what is the constructor function in the JavaScript? In JavaScript, constructor function is a function which we use to create an object. And how we create an object? We create the object using the new keyword. So anonymous function can be used to create an object, but the arrow function cannot be used to create an object. Now I'm telling you the difference between anonymous function and the arrow function. Arrow function cannot be used to create an object, but anonymous function can be used to create an object because I can use it as a constructor function. Now the question is here, where arrow function will help us? In JavaScript, there is a one more issue we have, that is this keyword. So this keyword scope in JavaScript will be decided on runtime, not on the compile time. So what happens with the name function and the anonymous function? There, this keyword scope is going to be decided on the runtime. But I want to decide the this keyword scope on compile time. Or you can say I want to preserve this keyword scope. What are the object I'm using? So their arrow function will help us. So always remember one thing. Whenever you are dealing with this keyword in the JavaScript, always prefer to use arrow function there. So in the React.js also, what we do, we create the functional component, and what the field we are defining the functional component, those we access using this keyword. Even when it is come to the class component, mainly this is the requirement over there. And the class-based component, when we are defining the event handler for a button, are we having, let's say, the another event handler for input control? So there you have to always give the preference to the arrow function, not to this name function and not to this anonymous function. If you will give the preference there, you have to explicitly bind the scope of this using the bind method over there. So in JavaScript, we having the bind method. So bind method will help us to bind the context, or you can say the scope of this keyword with the right one. I hope it is clear to everyone, the difference between arrow and the anonymous function. Yes or no? Can you tell me through the chat window, everyone? Is it clear? Are you getting these things helpful? Do you know these things before? So when it is coming to a name function, it is perfectly fine. Whenever there is a requirement to access before its declaration, go ahead with the name function. Arrow function is, sorry, the anonymous function is a code whenever you're going to create a callback function or whenever you have to create an object. We use anonymous function there. The arrow function is about dealing with this keyword scope properly. Because the name function and the anonymous function cannot deal with this keyword properly. I hope this is a recap of all these three functions, even the use case also. Make sense to everyone? So do you have any query? I hope function are clear. So this is a functional programming style you need to know whenever you're dealing with the JavaScript. Now let me write one more thing about the JavaScript, that is the objects. So I'm using, let's say, objects.js. So how we can create the objects in JavaScript? We can create the objects in JavaScript using the many ways. We can create using the literal syntax, let's say constant user that I have already created. And this is the most preferable option here. So this is my literal syntax to create an object. And I can console it like this way. I can create the object using my object constructor as well. So we having the object like this way. Then I can assign the value user1.id equal to 2. It is user1.name equal to, it is, let's say, Ram. This is another style here. Even if I'm willing to clone an object, I can create that one also. User2 equal to, we having the object. Even I can use here, a constructor function that let me show you here. So requirement is here. We are just getting a class. So I'm using here a function, a user class, where I can pass, let's say, ID, I can pass name. So I can define here this dot ID equal to ID. It will be here, let's say, this dot name equal to name. Now I can create the object using this one also. Let's say constant, it is user2 equal to, we having the new user, where I can pass the value. Let's say Rohan is a value here. If you want to console it, 2. Here I can console user1. Now, if you will see the output, it is node, that is objects. So you can see I'm getting the output here like this way. So I use the literal syntax, I use the object constructor, I just use the function constructor. Even you can use the class as well here, because starting from the ES6, we having the class also. If I'm willing to follow the ES6 syntax, I can create a class, let's say employee, and the class I can define a constructor. This way, I can take a parameter here, then I can decide, assign the value this dot ID equal to ID, this dot name equal to name here, this way. Now I can create this employee class object. Let's say emp1 equal to new employee, where I'm passing the value here, let's say Mohan, this way. If I'm willing to console, I can console it directly. So this is the ES6 class based syntax we are using now here to deal with it. So how it is coming? It is coming like this way. We having the node and objects. So here it is a user type object and here it is an employee type object. Even we can use the object clone method as well. Because sometimes it happens you might be creating the clone of the object. That also we can create here. So we having the various option to create the object in JavaScript here. Depending upon the requirement, you can use one of them. As I said here, when it is coming to the functional programming, so we don't use the class-based style. We mostly prefer this syntax over here. If let's say we are willing to create a class type thing, so I can use a constructor function. Using that, I can do it here simply. I hope the things are clear to everyone. I'm right. Do you have any query? Are you getting the things? How the things are working? Of course, inside the method, inside the class, you can add a method. Even inside the function also, we can add the method. The things are same. I can add here, let's say, show details here, show details. Then I can console it here. I will console here using the backticks. I can add the things, let's say ID colon, it will be here this dot ID. Then I'm using here, let's say name. And here I'm using, let's say this dot name, like this way. So this is a method. Inside the function we have defined. And now in place of using console.log, what I will do, I will use here emp1 dot show details. This is the way I can add it. Exactly same thing we can add here also. It will be here this dot show details here. And here I'm defining a nested function for it. And exactly same way I can console the value for it also. This way. But instead of doing this way, I can use now user to dot show detail. It will be here user to dot show details. This way it is coming. If you will check, you will get the output now properly what I was getting before. But now it is not telling the type. It is directly telling the output here. Because now this is a constructor function where I added a nested function and I'm calling it here like this way. And always remember one thing. If you're adding something on this keyword in JavaScript constructor function, so that is going to consider the public. So this is a public function. I can call it using the user object. If you're keeping something without this keyword, let's say if I will mention here only ID equal to ID. Now it is not a public, it is a simple one. As we having the private variable in other programming languages, same way will get. So you can see ID I'm getting now undefined. So let's say make UID so that you can differentiate, otherwise you will be confused. Actually, which ID I'm pointing. Okay, so I just did a tweak here. Now it is a UID which I'm accessing without this. If you will check, I'm getting the now UID value is 2. So this is behaving like private. This is behaving like public. Yeah. So anything which you're keeping on the this keyword is public. Anything which is you're keeping without this, it is private. Exactly same things applicable here also in this employee class also. We are keeping on this, that's why it is public. This is public by default because it is at the class level I'm keeping here. I hope the things are clear to everyone. I'm right. Are you enjoying the things here? This is the way how the things are working here, simply. So guys, here we are doing the things from the 2 o'clock. How many people now needs a break? We can have a break of 10 minutes or 5 minutes. After that, we can resume the session. Yes or no? Just quickly do let me know. Do you want to learn more or you are fine for today's session? Just quickly do let me know through the chat window. Because only JavaScript we have covered so far. And I'm sure you have learned so many things today. I'm right? Okay, let's have a 10 minutes break. After the break, I will continue. So right now it is 3:26. So we will resume the session at 3:36. So please come back after 10 minutes. I hope you can hear me. Are you there? Okay. So if you will look at here, we have done with the JavaScript basics. I'm sure these things you'll be referring the JavaScript in more detail. You're having the more clarity. Of course, I don't have much time so that I can cover everything. I will tell you the topic here. Later on, just try to explore the spread operator. We having the parameters in the function, optional parameter. So try to master the JavaScript before jumping into the front-end development using the React.js or any other front-end library and framework there. So let's move to the next technology that is about the HTML. So when it is coming to the HTML, so HTML is a technology we use to represent our data. So what are the website we are building? Without HTML, we cannot build any website. Even you cannot imagine the website element without HTML. Everywhere we need to have the HTML there. So this is my front end one. So when it is coming to the HTML, so HTML is a markup language. It is not a programming language, it's a markup language. There is a difference in programming language and the markup language. So markup languages are used to represent the data. They are not, the markup language will not help us to perform the server side operation as we can do using the programming languages like Java, C Sharp, this JavaScript. So these are programming languages. Because using these, we can communicate with the server, we can communicate with the database and others one. Markup languages are HTML, we have in the XML. They only help us to represent the data. So with the help of HTML, we are representing the data on the web page. So what are the web page you're looking right now? They are built up using the HTML. Of course, HTML is not a new. HTML is available in 91. The first time the HTML was introduced in the 91 for building a website. And constantly they are evolving it. And nowadays HTML5 is the latest version of HTML that is recommended to use everywhere to build your web pages. So when it is coming the HTML, so HTML having the syntax, this is a syntax for a basic HTML, where we having the HTML tag, where we having the header, we having the body, and inside the header we mention the title. So these are the necessary tag that every web page must have. So everything will be wrapped inside the HTML tag. Further, HTML tag will be divided into two sections. One is header section, second is body section. In header section, we define the title of the web page. We define all the references of the JavaScript library, or you can say the CSS library we are going to include on the web page, we mention in the header section. Even when it is coming to defining the meta tag also. So those things also we can define, we define into the header section. So header is about containing the metadata information about the web page. Then we have in the body. So what are the UI? You will see on a web page that UI is going to design inside the body tag. So right now we having a paragraph, you can add the heading tag and the another tag as well, whatever are coming inside that body tag there. So this is a basic HTML style. Here we have not mentioned any version number there, simply. So do you have any query? The next one we having the XHTML. In the XHTML, we define the doc type using a XML namespace at the top level. You can see we having the doc type like this way. Even inside the HTML, I'm defining the XML namespace. When it is come with HTML5, in HTML5, we having a simple doc type declaration like this way. Doc type HTML, and there we having the header and body. Doc type actually helping us to define which version of HTML we are willing to use. So browser by default render HTML, what are the latest version the browser is supporting for that HTML. But if you will mention clearly at the top level, I want to use, or we are using on this page, this version of HTML. So please use this version of HTML to render the web page. Okay. So nowadays, whatever the website we are building, everywhere we are using the HTML5. So that's why it is a HTML5 one here. We are keeping there now. So when it is coming to HTML, in HTML, we having the tag there. So the HTML tag is always come in pair. You can take the example of we having a heading tag, where we having the open tag H1, then we having the closing tag for H1. So always the difference between open tag and the closing tag is closing tag having a backslash here. Opening tag does not have a backslash, only closing tag having the backslash. And between the open tag and the closing tag, we have to mention our text. Or we can even do the nesting of the tag as well. Like inside the H1, I can use the another tag also. Let's say I can use a span, I can use, let's say, div also, depending upon what design we are making there. It is about that there, simply. So we having the various HTML tag. So in the header, we define these many tags. Let's say title, style, meta, link, script, no script. Inside the body, we define paragraph, we define the hyperlinks, images, table, list. And heading tag are here from H1 to H6. So these many tags are helping us to design the page. So let's see how we can do it here. So do one thing, let me create here a folder. So this is, I'm adding a folder for HTML. And here I'm adding a file. I'm adding a file, let's say home.html. And I can use here, let's say HTML5. I'm using here HTML5. So what I have done in my VS Code, I have installed the extension. So with therefore that extension, this code has been generated automatically. So I have not done any magic. So whenever you are working with your IDE, make sure you have installed some important extension. So this extension I have installed in my VS Code, you can also install. If you're coming to this one. So here we have installed the extension for JavaScript. We have installed the extension for other programming languages, let's say Python, Angular, React, and others also. So these extensions actually help you to generate the code quickly whenever you are writing them. So these things you can install here. Even from here, you can search them, whatever you have. So now let me simply create a page. So how we create the page? I will create the page like this way, header. In header, let's say I will add some menu. So the menu I'm using here, let's say HREF. That is, I'm keeping the link, let's say for home page, I'm keeping, let's say home. Then I'm keeping for about. So this is my, let's say, about us. This is, let's say, my privacy. Let's say I'm trying to create a home page with the header. Then we having a section where we will add some, content to it. Let's say this is the content I have added, like this one. The 2 paragraph I have added. For this also I have added a extension so that this text automatically will be generated. And finally, in the footer section, you might having the link, some having a link like this way. I'm adding a link for, let's say, home page. This is my HREF. So this way. So it is, let's say, about.html, about.html, and it is privacy.html. I'm designing like this way. And here we can add, let's say, some heading. Let's say H5 I'm using. About, or you can say, let's say, these are the company related links. Okay. And here I'm adding a heading, let's say, home page. Heading we always mention using the H1. So this is my H1 as well. So this is the way I have designed my HTML, and this is the header part I'm trying to design. This is the section part, because when it is coming to building any website, if I take in the example for building any website, you will find out we having mainly 3 sections. Just look at the scholarhead.com. In scholarhead.com, we having the 3 section over here. So this is my section 1. This is my header. This is my section 2. That is a content part. Actually, we having here. This content part is scrollable, of course. And if you will scroll down to the bottom, you will find out we having another section that is my footer. This one. So always we design the website like in this section. Define the header, define the content part, and define the footer part. In the footer, the similar way, I have added a footer here. And these are footer things over here. There I also added a menu. So menu part we have added over here. There's some heading there we have it. And we having some content part using the images we are showing them. So make sense to everyone how the things are coming and how the things are working here over here. And so no. This is the way how the things are coming and how the things are working over here to proceed further. So exactly same way I'm trying to make this design here now. If you will open this page, so open in File Explorer first, then I can open using my browser. So you can use any browser. In the browser, I'm coming like this way. This is a header, this is a content part, and this is the footer part is coming. So right now it's a plain HTML without any makeup. Okay, because what is the scholar head side you are looking at, it is with makeup. So makeup part we do for HTML using the CSS and using a front-end framework like we having the Bootstrap. So right now it is without makeup, where we having the header, where we having this section, where we having the footer. I hope it is clear to everyone. Even when it is coming to the HTML5, in HTML5 we having the more relevant tag. So what are the more relevant tags here? In place of using, let's say, div, it is always recommended to use, let's say, nav to define the nav bar. We get the navigation bar, so I'm defining the nav bar here. And then in place of div, I can take the help of, let's say, section, because these are the section. And here to define the footer, we having a footer tag. So these new tags has been introduced in HTML5 to give the relevant name for the section. So when it is coming to give the relevant name for the section, we are using these many things here. Let me, okay, open this HTML5 layout. So these are layout part. It's a header is here, nav is here, section is here, footer is here, aside is here. So this is the way we define the layout over here now. Aditya, I will block you. Please don't spam the group. So do you have any queries so far about it? Or shall we go ahead now? So when it is coming to the HTML5, these are the things we need to decide here. So exactly same way I'm designing. There's a header, footer, nav, section, article, and a site to define the things, to make a better page structure. Because in the HTML5, before the actual HTML5, we don't have the proper tag to define the structure of the pages. We have been just everywhere to use div. And of course, div is not a relevant name to define the section. So that's why they have come with more relevant tag, or you can say the semantic tag. So these are known as the semantic tag in HTML5, where we can define the more clear name of the section. And by looking at the tag, you able to understood, okay, this is the header section inside the web page. This is the sidebar. This is the footer. And this is the my section part over there. This is the way how the things are working over there. Make sense to everyone? Yes or no? Okay. So come to the things over here now. So as I said here, this is the HTML without makeup. So how we can make the design similar to this one? Of course, this design we cannot make immediately. It takes time. Even when we design this page, we change this design many times. Then only this design comes here. Even still, we keep changing based upon the requirement. So how this similar design we can make? Exactly the replica of design can be made using the bootstrap file. Because using the simple CSS, I cannot make the design. Using the simple CSS, I can just give the background color, the font size I can control, but exact replica I cannot create over there. So for designing the purpose, we having another concept that is known as the CSS. So I can add here a CSS folder, and let's say just go ahead with this simple CSS site.css. So this site.css you can add over here now. So link, and it would be here CSS and site.css. CSI. It is relation equal to a style sheet. So now what are the things we have defined? Actually, we can now decorate here. Let's say H1 tag. Things if you want to control, I can control from here. Let's say color. I'm keeping here navy blue. This one. If you will check now, you will see the things. It is now navy blue. Okay. I can change the font family. So if you want to apply something at the page level, we can set the complete page level. Let's say I'm keeping the things here itself so that we don't need to again and again change the things. Side by side, I'm opening my browser and editor. I've divided the screen into 2 parts. So now let's say I want to apply a particular font family to my complete page. So what I can do here? So we having, let's say, HTML tag also. If you will see in this page, there is a sum gap from the left hand side. Just look at clearly, there is a sum gap from the top also, from the left also. If let's say want to remove that gap, I can mention here padding 0, margin 0. So what it will do, it will remove the gap. Even better to mention here asterisk. Asterisk means it will apply this setting to each element, whatever we are using in our HTML page. It can be paragraph, it can be div, it can be anyone. It is just like wild character setting that is going to apply to all elements. So now you can see what are the padding we having by default. That completely has been removed. Now let's say I want to apply here a font family that I will keep using the body tag. So many websites having their own font family to follow. Even if I'm looking at our own logo at Scholar Head, in the logo of Scholar Head, we are using a font family. It's a Roboto font family. So the Roboto font family I can mention here. Let's say I think it is not available. So not an issue. What are the font families available that I can use? Let's say I'm using here such a UI. Is a font family. I'm just going to mention. Now reload. So now you can see the font design has been changed. So this I have applied at the body tag level. So it will applicable to each and every element which are inside the body tag of my HTML page here now. Even whatever the line gap I want to introduce, I can mention here using the line height. So by default, line height is decided by the browser because every browser having its own setting. But I can change it. Let's say I'm changing the line height by default to 20 pixel. Save it. It will come in here. Line height is now reduced. Let's say I'm keeping 25. Now it will increase. This way. Even in the H1, I can mention here, let's say padding. So padding we having here. So padding top, I'm mentioning 10 pixel. Padding left, right, let's say 0. If you will load the things, we are coming like this. So what happens here, whatever the browser we having, what is the design we having. Now let me explain about the padding and the margin. So always take the help of the browser, especially the browser, these developer tools to understand the things here now. Just look at this design, which is coming in browser. Now let me explain. So how the margin, border, padding are working. Just look at this one. So this is my element. Where my element is? My element is actually this one. Let me make it bolder so that you have the clarity. So every UI developer must know the difference between margin, padding, and border, and how actually they are growing, how they are decreasing, so that you can arrange the element position properly. Because These are the very basic level things, but very, very important. So whenever you are designing, it is important. So this is my element. So inside the element, always we having the padding here. If you mention padding 10, so it will happen inside the element. So what is the next element you will add inside the same? It will start after this padding here. If you will see in this picture, this is another element. I'm just, let me change the color. This is another element. It will start inside the previous one after that 10 pixel padding this way. Now, what are the border we have? So border will grow outside this area like this way. This is a border. The border you can have 2 pixel, 5 pixel, 10 pixel. It always grow outside that element here. So make sure whenever you are defining the border for that element, it always grow outside that boundary for that element we have. Then we having the margin. So margin is also with respect to the parent element. So this might having a parent element and this might not having a parent element. So right now this is not having any parent element, but it is having a page. This is my page. If let's say I will highlight my page, this is my page. So what are the margin I will keep? So margin will be here with respect to this page here. This is the margin will come. If let's say you don't have the border, so margin will come like this way. But if let's say you having a border, so in that case, margin will come till border only. So here in this picture, this is the area. So this is for margin, this is for border, this is for padding. How the things are working here. And these things you will use commonly when you will adjust the alignment of the text inside a container, means inside an element. So when it is coming to the margin, border, padding, it always having the 4 faces. So what are the 4 faces we having? This is my top side. This is my right side. This is my bottom side. And this is my left side. So that's why we having always padding top, padding right, margin right, padding bottom, margin bottom, padding left, margin left. Similar way we having border also. So we having the 4 side of an element here. And these property having the 4 things. So when it is coming to defining them, exactly same thing we can mention here when it is coming to padding. So here you can mention either 4 values separated by space. So this is for top. This is for right. But if you don't want to give the value for bottom and the left, you can only give the 2 value. In case of 2 value, it is going to be considered for top and bottom. It is going to consider for left and right both. Okay. So here I can give only 1 value. 1 value means it is applicable same for all the 4 sides. If you having 2 value, so first value for top and bottom, second value for left and right. If you want to define all the 4 value, that is also possible. You can give all the 4 value like this way. Yeah, it will take like this maybe. I hope the things are clear about padding, bottom, margin. I'm right? Yes or no? Are you getting the things? So using the CSS, you can apply the makeup on your website. And of course, how good you are in makeup, the website will look better. But do we have any professional course for doing the makeup for the website? Or do we have any professional technique? Of course, we have it. That is the bootstrap. So therefore, bootstrap, we don't need to think much. At the each level, we having a predefined kit, as we having a makeup kit also. Using that makeup kit, we easily apply the makeup. Similar way, we having a bootstrap. That is a like we having a kit of makeup. In the bootstrap, we having the ready-made component for header, footer, for sidebar, And those ready-made component, we have to just copy and paste at the UI and it is started to use. So let's see how we can use the bootstrap to make exactly the better design over here now. So in place of adding the site.css, I can now go to the bootstrap official website. So we having get bootstrap.com here. The latest version of bootstrap, we having the 5.3. If you will go to the setup here, it is mentioned all the releases for bootstrap version we having. And to get started, you can download the file locally as well. Even I can integrate the link for the CDN, that is a content delivery network. So I'm using the link here. That link I will mention over here now. I will mention the link. Now site.css I can remove. And you will see here now, everything will come. Reload the things. Now we having the bootstrap default font family, bootstrap default style. And here in the bootstrap, we having the component. Now let me change the component for header. This is at very basic level. It's not a professional style. Now let me use here a better navbar. That is a default one. So I have installed again a bootstrap extension to generate this code. Save it, and you will find out we having a better menu now. Can you see? It's a proper menu is coming, proper navbar is coming. Now this section also I can align properly here. So when it is coming to keep these things in bootstrap, we having a container class to keep everything the center of the screen. So this is my div where I'm adding a class for container. This, if you will check now, the design will come the center of the screen. Are you getting? Now I can define the footer as well. So for footer also, I can define the same container class. So this footer, I'm going to apply here the class container. At the UL label, I can mention it's a class and order list. If you will see, the things are coming like this. Even I can define the background color also. If we will define the background color, so we have in BG, that is BG primary. So we'll have some background color for it now. It is a BG primary is coming. So with that for bootstrap, the things are easy to design and easy to represent as a look and feel wise. So before the bootstrap, it was quite difficult to make such rich UI for the website. You can think about how much effort I need to apply to write each and every component one by one. And because of that, the people are afraid of for learning the front end, because you have to learn everything here one by one, you have to put over there. But now things are easy. We having the front end framework. You have to just drag and drop and just use the things and they are ready to go ahead to make a better UI of the application. So now do you have any query about the bootstrap, about the CSS, HTML? Do you have anyone? The people who are watching me on YouTube, do you have any query? Okay. Now, as per the promise, let me tell you here the next important technology, that is jQuery. So jQuery still people are using instead of Angular and React, because jQuery is a very rich library which is providing us many component. Still those component people are using. But when it is coming to now the bootstrap, the latest version of Bootstrap. There, it is optional to include the jQuery until you are not using anything using the jQuery. So now slowly, whatever the new library and framework are in development, they are removing the dependency from the jQuery because now people are using mostly Angular and React everywhere. But you cannot ignore the jQuery because still there are so many components which are based upon the jQuery, which you need to use to implement them. Even in Bootstrap also, we having still many components where jQuery is helping us. So when it is coming to jQuery, so jQuery is a JavaScript library, which is helping us to simplify the DOM manipulation. Let's say you want to get a text box value, you want to change the text box value in a button click. So those many things can be done easily with the help of jQuery. So what I can do here for jQuery, I can also include the things using the jQuery CDN. So we having jQuery CDN link. So the jQuery CDN link we will get from the jQuery official website. That is this one. So I can go to the, let's say, minified version of jQuery CDN that I can copy. And I can mention here now. So let's say, before the Bootstrap, actually I'm adding it over here. Now to use the jQuery, I need to open a script tag. I'm opening a script tag. And here we use the jQuery like this way, document dot ready. So in jQuery, we having a function document dot ready. So what are the jQuery code we write? We always write inside this function. And when this function is going to be executed, this function is going to be executed when all the DOM element of the page will render inside the browser. But it always executed before the page load. Because what happens here, it is only waiting to load the DOM element. It is not waiting to load the complete page. Because there can be the case, let's say you having a bigger image. So image tag is already loaded in the browser. But image size is bigger, so image is loading. As we having, the curtain is dropping. So when internet is, bandwidth is not there, so it very slowly loaded the browser. But the document.ready will be executed. So window.onload method will always execute after the document.ready. So make sure if you're having something to manipulate after loading everything. So please wrap that code inside the window load method. If you don't need to wait for loading the complete page, that code you can write inside the document.ready. Exactly same thing I'm doing here now. So let's say on the document.ready, I'm just going to write it. So here it's needed a callback function that I forget to mention. This way. Now here I can add a console log. It is coming here. Hello jQuery. You can use here the alert box as well, but I'm using the console.log to show you how it is coming into the picture. So if you will see, it will come over here now in console. This is my console of the browser reload. You can see I'm getting here hello jQuery. Now with that for jQuery, we can write some event here. So what I can do here, let's say after the home page, I'm adding a paragraph. I'm adding a text box here, input type text. I'm defining here ID, let's say txt. It is txt name. And I'm having a button. So button type button. I can apply a CSS class from the Bootstrap btn des primary. Then let's say click me. There's a button. And for the button also I can add a, let's say ID. It is btn Click. It is txt name. So the requirement is here, let's say I want to, what are the value I'm entering on this text box? On button click, I want to show it. So let's say this is my button. And I think for button, the class primary, it is incomplete. Okay. Now just save it. And if you will see here, button is coming. Now I'm entering here a name Mohan. If I will click on the click, so on this click button, this Mohan button, it should show us in the alert box or it should print in the console. So this is a requirement I'm having to deal with it. So what I can do here, I can now capture here using the click event. So in the jQuery, we having the selectors. So selectors are here helping us to select the value. So it is ID. So ID we use using the hash, and the CSS class we use using the dot. So it is a ID. So I'm using ID click function we have in jQuery. This is a callback function. This I'm having. Now I can get my text box value. So I can get my text box value like this way. Again, I'm using dollar, then ID of the text box. It is txt name, and it is having the val. So val is a method in jQuery. So click val. These are the predefined method in jQuery. We are having to handle the click event to retrieve the value of a text box. So you don't need to worry about it. Now using the console log, I will console the value. So when it is coming to this one, you will see when I will click on the button and reload it, let's say it is a Mohan. Click here. Can you see I'm getting here Mohan? So this is the way with the help of jQuery, we are able to handle the event over here. Same thing can be done using the plain JavaScript as well. But in the plain JavaScript, we need to write more code. Because in the jQuery, the number of lines has been reduced as per the plain JavaScript. And when it is coming to now Angular and the React, now in the Angular and React, this code has been simplified more. So you should know the reason as well why the Angular and the React has been introduced. Still, we already having the jQuery, that is the most popular and widely used library was there. But jQuery actually creating the tight coupling. In jQuery, we don't have much way to write the code in function programming language, to write the code in the object-oriented programming style. It is actually making the pages tightly coupled. The section of the page tightly coupled. So that's why a new framework, a new library requirement has been raised. That's why React comes into the picture and Angular comes into the picture. Because jQuery is not providing us that flexibility that we needed to build an enterprise-grade application. Here, there are a lot of dependency, and the application also going to become complex whenever keep iterating the things. So it was quite difficult to write the code in depth level in jQuery to manipulate the UI. So Angular and the React are the framework who actually going to overcome those issues of the jQuery. That's why nowadays we are using Angular and the React. I hope you get to know the reason why the Angular and the React has been introduced. So do you have any query now? Yes or no? So as I have promised, today I'm going to teach you the 5 things. So JavaScript we have done, HTML we have done, CSS we have done, Bootstrap we have done, and this is the jQuery we have done. Of course, each technology is in very detailed. I cannot touch everything in 3 technology here. If you will know the JavaScript, you can easily learn jQuery as well. You can easily learn the other fronted one as well. So please put the time over here and trust me. If you want to get the job, easily. If you are a fresher, if you're a student, and you are doing the struggle to get the job, and you are confused whether I should learn Python, whether I should learn .NET, whether I should learn, let's say, the Java, and still you are not getting the success. What is the shortcut path where I can get the job easily? Even I will get the good salary as well in future. So front-end developer is a right path to the people who are going to start the new career and who actually shifting the things. Because front-end developers are needed more in the market. So when it is coming to in upcoming years, more front-end developers requirement will be there. Because nowadays you might heard about the micro front-end. So micro front-end is now evolving more. Even whatever the UI you are looking at for a website, in every UI, they are building using the JavaScript, using the front-end technologies. So whether you are building the mobile app, whether you are building the desktop app, whether you are building the app for the watches or any device, everywhere JavaScript is a main programming language. Why we having the here salary also good? The reason behind it, in the colleges, nobody is teaching the HTML technologies. Even people are just moving towards the machine learning and AI and the DSA. Because many people are just showing them dream. If you will learn the Python, you will become data scientist, you will get this much of salary package. Sir, these are just dream, trust me. If you want to get the right approach, how to get the job, how to fit myself to the industry and can get to the high level, this is the right part to proceed further. If you have any query, doubt, please do ask through the chat window. I will answer. 5 minutes, I'm giving the time. Yes, Santosh, when it is come with HTML, of course, HTML you need to know. We write the things in HTML. Even when it is coming, the React.js also, there also, we use the JSX. So JSX is nothing. Is the HTML plus JavaScript we use there. So without these basic HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, you cannot be a front-end developer. You have to learn it. And it is not difficult. If you know the right path, if you are consistent, you are not unnecessarily watching the videos where the people are just provoking you to learn the data science, to learn the machine learning, to learn the many other things. Please stop watching such videos. Focus on what is the right path to go ahead. Okay. So because many people ask me what is the approach where I will definitely get the job. This is the way where you will definitely get the job. I'm not saying here by learning the data science, you cannot get the job. Of course, you will get the job, but there you need patience. Similarly, DSA is also a path. By learning the DSA also will get the job. I'm not denying that, but you have to put more effort over there. You have to have patience over there. I know there are many people who don't like the DSA, who always afraid the DSA. They just coming into the IT and also get the good salary in the market later on when they will have the experience. So this is the right part over there. Even on the later stage, if you're willing to move into the main companies, you can move there as well. If you want to become in Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, and many other company, they having a separate profile for the UI developer and front-end engineer. So become a front-end engineer to get the job in such big companies as well. And there they will not ask for DSA. When it is coming to the JavaScript, of course, React you will find more familiar over there. Angular style is completely different. If you're from the background of object-oriented programming language, let's say C++, C#, and Java, you will find out Angular more easy to learn. If you're already a .NET developer, Java developer, learn Angular because that is easy to learn. But if you're starting the career from scratch, you don't know any programming language and framework. So go ahead with JavaScript and the React.js. Even you should not think about only learning the one framework, you should learn both of them because When it is coming the market, the companies are expecting, you should know Angular as well, you should know React as well. Another query, do you have? So thank you everyone for joining this masterclass. I appreciate your time and I appreciate your feedback, your question you asked to me. I hope you are able to get the more clarity about the profile of front-end developer, front-end engineer. Please do let me know. If you want to have the such session in the future, we will try to have such session also. So thank you again.